I just have that entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I wanted to own my business, and I wanted to be able to brand my business in the image that I feel represents me and in the firm that I'm trying to create.
Audio Jungle. Hello, and welcome to Business Focus, produced by the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. My name is Angela Inzerillo with Impact Business Solutions, and I'm privileged to be your host as we highlight the great work our local businesses are doing. Welcome to this week's episode. I am so excited to introduce to you Mr. Alex Buellesbach with Cottage Financial. We're going to learn all about the market today. No, we're not going to talk about the market actually at all, but we are going to learn about no market discussion. We're going to talk about a bunch of things, Alex. So let's just kind of get right into it and talk a little bit about why you joined the chamber and how you got started in your business, because it's really, really exciting for other business owners to hear how people got started. I love the passionate folks that kind of go out on their own, right? Learn what they did at corporate, get some great training, and then, take the world by storm. So first of all, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Angela. I appreciate you having me. And it's kind of a crazy story how it all started. I mean, I've been in the financial services business for about 10 years now, a little over. Started with my own firm. Actually, I started as an entrepreneur with an insurance company that did life, health, and Medicare, and then transitioned to a larger international broker-dealer investment bank in Chicago. And went through their training program, built a really great book of clients. And then about a year ago, decided to go out on my own, to your point. I had the entrepreneurial bug again, and just proudly sitting here a year later, very happy that I made the decision to go out on my own with Cottage Capital.
Absolutely. And, I did it about your age as well. It's like, if I'm not going to do it, might as well do it now, right? He's actually a little bit older than you might think he is. But anyway, it's true.
I appreciate that.
It's true. You get to learn. You got some great training by a large organization, but you want to do things differently, right? So, talk a little bit about your services, and then we'll talk about kind of some of the things that you do that's different in your market space. So, talk a little bit about what you actually provide.
So, what I typically like to touch on with clients, which, by the way, I help families and individuals, and then also business owners. So, there's two paths. They typically have the same needs, though. And those needs are financial planning at the, upfront foremost. That's the biggest thing that we talk about. Investment management, retirement income planning, multi-generational wealth planning, and employer-sponsored retirement plans. And then to kick it off too, I also help people figure out donor advised funds.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that too. That's very interesting. So, typically someone comes to you and they have any of this, all of this together, or none of it?
Sometimes people just come with the idea that they need a little bit more of a solid plan, and they really don't know where to start. So really, I think what happens is you just got to really just get to know the person, the family, the business owner, just to see what's important to them. Because typically there is a reason why they're reaching out. Right. So I always like to start with that immediate need or immediate reason, and then branch out from there with all the other things that I can be helpful with. Because eventually, that's what people want to try to solve, is that immediate need. And that's where the focus really should be in the beginning. And then from there, you get to know each other, and you get to know exactly what, is important to that person. And you're able to branch off in some of those other service areas.
Well, I think when you said, you kind of went out on your own, was there something that may have been missing in your practice or what you were delivering? Because it seems now it's your business. You can do what you want, and it's got your character, right? Your name on it. So how are you uniquely helping, these individuals and families and business owners?
I feel like I got a really great, education at the last firm I was at. It was an amazing time. I learned a lot about capital markets and financial planning, investment management, but I just had that entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I wanted to own my business, and I wanted to be able to brand my business in the image that I feel represents me and in the firm that I'm trying to create. That's why I named it Cottage Capital. because I didn't want to go with the traditional route, which you find a lot of advisors when they go independent go, like they put their last name or
Yes.
financial or something to that effect. I want to create a firm that's welcoming to all, that can grow in a larger context, and that is not just some soapbox for somebody to sit on and stand on and talk from. I feel like it's a brand that I want to create a lot of equity, not only for myself, but eventually others as well.
Talk more about this. What you got me when you meant multi-generational. Explain that a little further.
Yeah. Well, so there's going to be a lot of multi-generational wealth management talk over the next 5-10 years. A lot of people are sitting on assets that they're the matriarch patriarch of their families, and sometimes they have a really great plan for the investments themselves, but I haven't really talked to the next generation about what those plans are, or if they're not structured with the help of other professionals. It can be a really costly mistake. And so, what I'm looking to do is really to help people formulate that family conversation around all generations, include everybody in the conversation. Just because you give people a voice in those conversations doesn't particularly mean you give them a vote in what happens with the matriarch and patriarch's finances. But at least they are heard, and also on the other side, they might learn something new about their the next generation as well that they didn't know, and it creates a lot more just a lot more continuity within
I
the
think you
family
hit it on the
dynamic.
head when you said you were helping them have that conversation. I can tell you a whole bunch of years ago when my family, my parents were putting their trust together and having these conversations, it was really tough because, we all think our family's going to live forever, particularly our parents, right? And then they don't. So having these documents in place or having a plan in place is so critical, but just having the conversation is probably one of the most difficult things you see. Yeah.
It's tough, but what I want to do as an advisor is to be that third party in the room where I can facilitate that type of conversation and keep the conversation going along constructively. That's what I hope. And again, that's not going to happen overnight with every single client either, right? But as you build trust and you build a rapport you know, with your clients, that's always going to be my next question. Like, I would love to meet the next generation if I haven't already at that point, because you already kind of know them sort of through the stories you've heard, right? From the clients you work with. So it's an easy transition if you press it and you really seek it out, and it's something that our industry is really focused on right now, is that next generational wealth transfer conversation, because it's going to be very large, and if you're not ready for it, it can be a tough thing to navigate.
Do you think that the next generation wants to be heard? Because I'll be, again, 40 years ago when I was having that conversation, I don't know, I was just told, right? I didn't have input, but now it's changed.
I think people are a lot more relaxed. I can't speak to what's happened in the past. Obviously, it wasn't there, but I feel like people are a little bit more open to having conversations that are constructive. To talk to, try to be a little bit more open about what might occur if something were to happen, and it's not easy. It's not an easy conversation to have. But I feel like if you take baby steps towards that conversation, you're not forced to deal with it all immediately at once. It's an easing into that type of conversation. I feel like there's a way to do it in a manner that's a lot more welcoming, inclusive, and also productive.
I think it's important that we surround ourselves with other perspectives, whether it's an older generation or younger generation, depending upon, your age, right? So I think that that's really important. I know you yourself are surrounding yourself too, right? Aren't you part of a little bit larger group?
Yeah, recently, thanks for mentioning that, Angela. So recently I joined a group called AdvisorLink. So it's a practice full of advisors, just like myself, that want to have a place where they can grow their brand, but also have scalability to be able to, you know, band together, if you will, to add overhead costs. Like, for instance, the new office that we have in Tyson's, we just opened it in the borough. It's, you know, it's
Right.
part of that strategy to be able to bind together and have numbers behind you, but also still, you know, your brand that you're trying to build, you know, will continue to,
Well, you learn
you know,
from each
to
other,
work
right?
in
And
the way
if
that you
God
want
forbid
it to.
something happens to you or whatever, if you've got some other perspectives that you need to bring into play,
Mhm.
I think that's fairly unique. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, usually, typically, you go onto a larger team, and that's kind of the way that, you know, a lot of the hierarchy is set up. Whereas this is a little bit different because you have other entrepreneurs that are banding together for, you know, for just scalability at this point. Really fun way to approach uh, servicing your
Speaking of
clients.
service, share with the audience. What was your degree in?
Oh, so yeah. So I got my degree in hospitality administration. I grew up in a family that was predominantly in the, you know, hospitality services business. My dad worked for a large firm for many years, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. You know, like any other kid
Of
sees
course.
their parents do a job, they are grown up around it, and that's what they thought they wanted to do. After a couple of years of doing that, I found that I was better suited for more of a sales role, which then kind of got me into the insurance role that I've held prior to my last firm. And, and so, yeah, so it really just, it shapes the way that I approach the client service model more so than I think other advisors. So, Cottage Hill Capital, our tagline that I like to use is where an elevated client experience meets practical financial advice. That's what we're trying to accomplish, and I feel like an elevated
It's
client
so important.
experience is something that you can find at any, you know, at any nice, you know, 5-star hotel. That's the type of vibe that I'm trying to really accomplish with my clients and the level of service
Well,
that
I
they can
say it's
expect
table
from
stakes,
us.
but it's not always. So it's important that you focus on that. And you're very genuine. So just talking to you, and I know, you're a type A personality, right? So I'm sure that you've got the whole financial component pretty straightforward, but that other piece of it is so important. It's like a doctor and a bedside manner, right? I don't know. I feel like it's an important piece of it,
Yeah,
an important piece of
totally.
it.
Well, it's the part that sometimes is missing because, you know, a lot of folks that are type A that are into their work and love the investment management side and love the financial planning side and do all that, yeah, it's fantastic and they can do wonders with it. But if you're not able to really convey those things that you're working really hard on and diligently with, you know, the end user, which is the client, in an effective way and make them feel like they are,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
well taken care of, it's all for naught. You know, you really have, without the client experience, it's a really it's a
Right.
commoditized line of work,
And I,
like most things.
exactly that your industry is not unique in that regard. So I love that you do that. So yeah, just jumping kind of right into the, I've got to ask you, you joined the chamber less than a year ago. I think it's just a few months, and I've seen you around, and that's why you're on the show because
Yep.
you're involved. You're co-chairing the golf committee, which I'll talk about in a second. But just what made you join the Reston Chamber? You're new to the area, but what made you join the organization and kind of what you're hoping to get out
Correct.
of it?
Yeah, I joined the Reston Chamber because I wanted to meet other like-minded entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I wanted to meet folks that are in a similar boat as me that maybe are going through just the same kind of stuff and same conversations with their clients. You know, it's a great place to bounce ideas off of. Even if they're not in the same specific industry, I
Yeah.
feel like we all kind of deal with a lot of the same things. And so part of that, and then the second piece too, was just really to become more inlined and engaged with the community around us. Because my wife Erica and I, we moved to Reston a little around the same time that I joined the chamber from Tyson's, not too far, but prior to that, it was Chicago. So we finally got to a more neighborhood-like
Yeah.
environment that Reston offers, and so I felt compelled to really try to dive in feet first. And part of it was, you know, using the chamber as that conduit to really get involved. And so by being involved through the chamber, I'm able to really work with a lot of
Mhm.
nonprofit organizations, which is something that my wife and I really uh, we love to put our time and effort into. And so the chamber's been an amazing place to meet those types of
And
people
so
as
you
well.
talked earlier about a donation type of service that it's not a service that you provide, but it's for
Yeah, it's a
donor.
donor advised fund. So it's another way for folks to put either appreciated assets or just cash to work for, a philanthropic endeavor into a fund that then they can, cut checks out of that, in a very tax efficient way to the, 501c3, charities of their choice. And it's just a really it's an interesting way to do it because not a lot of people do it, but it's not just for the really uber wealthy. It's not. It's very accessible to anybody that fully feels like they want to be a little bit more strategic with their charitable giving. And so uh, part of it for us, I mean, we actually, for the Cottage Hill Capital revenue, we donate
Oh, wow.
2% every year from Cottage Hill Capital revenue into our own donor advised fund that we've created, and that goes to help a lot of those nonprofits in our local area. But then I also have a lot of other states that I have clients in, so I'm looking at those states as well to help. So it's just as Cottage Hill Capital grows, that 2% number is going to continue to grow, and that's going to help a lot of people. And that's the legacy that I want to leave, that my wife and I have talked about that we want to leave. And just thrilled to be able to start that here at
And
Reston.
you said it too, like it's not for the uber wealthy, and yes, we know of all the famous people have their foundations, and that's fantastic because they're billionaires, but we're all not, and we still want to give back and make an impact. So why not have something that you can manage, again, maybe it's just a little bit each month, or things that, you probably know that you could advise on that we can utilize and make an impact.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you recognize the chamber for that, because we are huge in nonprofits and supporting the community and having, members like yourself that are giving back. So that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, that was my focus, from the get go, is just to meet people through the chamber, and the rest will come. Again, yes, everybody wants to join a chamber to
Sure.
possibly find new business,
Sure.
to find new clients. I mean, let's call it what it is, but you really have to buy in first before people are going to really feel comfortable with you, and they want to, you know, welcome you into the circle of, commerce per se, right? Here locally, you
Absolutely.
got to really, put forward a good effort to really get to know the
Well, I
community
mean, it's the
first.
whole know, like, and trust, and people see what you do, and then they want to know what you do. But first, they want to kind of know who you are.
Mhm.
So that's why, yeah, you are certainly noticeable because you raised your hand, which, by the way, could be an issue if you raise your hand too much. It's been great. Actually, it's really helped us grow our business by, giving back to the chamber and the community. But, certainly, you jumped right in, I guess, as a avid, maybe golfer, but certainly an interested golfer. And I can see by the Ryder Cup
Oh yeah.
uh, poster behind you, which very excites me. But yeah, you jumped on the committee, say, hey, how can I help? And now you're helping co-chair, which is fantastic. So you're bringing new ideas and thoughts, but you're doing it your diligent way, right? I'm going to sit back, learn, see how they do things, and then, kind of impart some ideas and thoughts. So I'm thrilled. So can we just jump in real quick and give a plug to the Reston Chamber Cup
Yeah.
coming up?
It, of course. Yeah, it's coming up
Yeah.
September 19th from 11:30 to 8 p.m. at Westfields Golf Club. It's going to be an amazing time to network, to really be around a ton of other like-minded folks that are in it's the premier business outing here locally in Reston, and I feel like you can get a lot out of it. We'll have some amazing raffle items. We'll have an awesome silent auction with a bunch of great trips, experiences, things that you normally don't see. We're also trying to bring a couple of more fun side prizes and
Yeah.
games to the event that I think, outside of just your traditional long drive and you know, best ball sort of thing. So it'll be fun. I think it's going to be a really great time. And I know last year was an amazing time at Westfield, and I have no doubt that
Yeah,
it's
they
going to be
treat
the
us
same.
really, really well, and you hit, the nail on the head with regards to what you get. So lunch, drinks on the course, of course. The networking component, though, is really big, and some people can just buy a ticket for networking. So there's an opportunity to come back and
Yeah, that's true.
have some drinks
That's
and some
true.
great food. They do a really good job with that too. I find that it's a true experience being with the business executives in the region. It's not just Reston, but certainly this area. We see a lot of corporate foursomes. We do see some women on the field. So ladies, this is not for men only. You always need a woman on your team.
Of course.
Men, you need a woman on your team because especially at Westfields too, we're really far up front. So if you hit it straight, we're beating the guys. I'm sorry.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
great networking. So I know
No
that
doubt.
early bird is ending sometime. And so look at the chamber's calendar, restonchamber.org, and you can kind of check out what pricing and all of that kind of
Yes.
stuff. There's still a bunch of sponsorships that are available if you want to get in front of, like I said, over 100 we had last year. I think we're going to try to cap it. So there will be a limited number of players because we want everyone to have, it's all about that experience.
Experience, exactly. And yeah, sponsor a hole. It's an easy way for people to get your business's name in front of a bunch of eyes all at once. And I'm actually Cottage Hill Capital. We're going to be sponsoring a hole this year, so it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm really excited to really just not only be part of the committee helping people plan, but also
are you raffling a driver
as well.
Come on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put a few things together. I'm still working it out, but I do feel something special is going to be in that either the raffle items or auction items.
All right,
I haven't
folks.
decided quite yet.
Look,
It'll be fun.
I'm going to Scotland in a few weeks, so I'm picking up a few Scottish golfy things that I'm going to put in a raffle basket or auction items. So again, and we'll have it all online. That's the other thing too. We're going to have it all online. So, people can kind of, bid or whatever, you can actually purchase it and get all the details. So yeah, some fun raffles, but yeah, thanks for jumping in and helping with that group and getting involved in the chamber and thanks for being here today. So how can people get in touch with you? I know you got your new website coming up, right?
Yeah. So the website is live. There's just a splash page. So the full website should be operational in I would say about a week or two. It's in compliance's hands. So we're at the finish line right now. And we put a lot of great work and effort into it. So I'm very happy with the results. It's just got to be correct, the I's dotted, the T's crossed. But www.cottagehillcapital.com, simple as that. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn too, using the name below here.
Get your time and all that you're doing. And for those watching, thanks for spending a few minutes with us, learning about what the great members of the chamber are doing in our community. And I look forward to seeing you next time on our next episode. Stay in touch with us for future episodes. Like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.
Audio Jungle.